Hi, I'm Mike Cherniffsky, and you're listening to This Podcast is Uncalled For. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. Pleased to have Terrence with me today. Terrence, go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Hey, everybody. My name is Terrence Yates, otherwise known as Comedian Petty Murphy. I am the host of the Petty Murphy Project and Unapologetically Disruptive. And I am a comedian, been doing comedy for 15 years, and I live right here in the Kansas City area, and this is my home, and I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, that makes two of us. So Terrence, if all goes well, will be one of the co-hosts helping out with KC Fringe in 2024.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm excited about doing that as well. And I'm also excited about today's topic because it's a follow-up of a topic we discussed on the podcast before, and I've been dying to do a follow-up on it, and that is the whole Cronky out thing.
Yes.
So, just as a reminder, I had an Arsenal fan on.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about our shared dislike for one Enos Stanley Kroenke, and I already come from the St. Louis perspective of it, having been a Rams fan.
Right.
Until the second he lied my team out of the Show Me State.
Mm-hmm.
But today, and I'll go a little into the backstory while we're talking about this today. We're going to talk about the Denver perspective of this, because this guy, at least his family, also owns the Denver Nuggets of the National Basketball Association and the Colorado Avalanche of the National Hockey League, and Colorado Rapids of Major League Soccer at least. So, and the reason I asked Terrence to be part of this, he came to our initial meeting wearing a Coach Prime sweatshirt. So maybe at the end we'll talk a little Colorado Buffaloes and go from there.
Definitely. What I've known about Stan Kroenke, of course, he's a businessman. Mm-hmm. I understand that. And I understand the pain that St. Louis fans have with the Rams leaving.
Yep.
And I understand it's a big business, but I also understand that, you know, with that family being from the Los Angeles area.
They're not from Los Angeles.
And originally, the same way that the Rams fans feel in St. Louis is how they felt in LA when the Rams left. Georgia Frontier moved their team to St. Louis. Mm-hmm. And of course, Mr. Kroenke was a part of that process.
Oh, the irony.
And it pissed a lot of people off in LA. Because not only did the LA lose to Rams, they also lost to Raiders that same year.
They did. But the Raiders move, I still think, was the more questionable of the two.
Yes, more
questionable. I mean, Raider fans, that's their team of choice. Right there in LA is the Raiders, partly because they won a Super Bowl in LA, and the Rams hadn't at the time. So, and about the whole Stan's original. Stan was born and raised in Cole Camp, Missouri, which is actually not too far from where we're staying right now. It's actually pretty close, and I haven't been there, but I've seen photos of it. It's apparently the intersections of Highway F and Highway U meet up in Cole Camp.
And what he basically told the city of St. Louis was F you.
Yeah. Along with adios, motherfuckers.
And for the record, the Dome, there's nothing wrong with the Dome.
No.
There's nothing wrong with the Dome whatsoever. I understand that he wanted to have a new stadium built in St. Louis, just for the Rams. Now, the Cardinals got a new stadium.
Yeah.
There was a new arena for the Blues,
Right.
but the Rams could not get a new stadium.
So let me clarify what happened there.
Okay.
So when the Rams first moved to St. Louis, there was a clause in their contract saying it had to be in the top 25% of NFL stadiums in 10-year intervals. That was never going to happen because more than half the league was in new stadiums by the time year 10 came around, and then year 20. All right. So there was absolutely no way that that stadium could possibly be renovated into the top 25%.
Of course.
Quality-wise. Now, the Rams' perspective was we won an arbitration process, which would have required St. Louis to spend $700 million entirely in taxpayer dollars to basically tear down the dome and build a new, which was not the prudent thing to take place, because that would have only kept the lease locked down for 10 more years.
Okay.
That made absolutely no sense. So the stadium authorities said, no, we'll just go year to year after the 10 years, and we'll come up with a new stadium plan, not too far from where the dome sits on the Mississippi River. And that's when Stan gave us the big FU.
Exactly, and when he gave you guys that big FU, what he knew is that LA was starving for an NFL team.
They weren't.
it was starving for an for an NFL team, because you had the Dodgers, you have the Lakers, the Clippers. Well, we won't talk about
the Clippers are doing good now.
They're doing good now. Their new dome is actually pretty beautiful, but we won't talk about the Clippers. But then you had Anaheim with the Angels. You had the Kings. But yet, the Ducks, but yet you were still they were starving for an NFL team. And I had a funny feeling. When all this was going down, Roger Goodell, or what my friends like to call him, Fidel Goodell.
That's a good one.
I knew that the NFL was going to go back to LA. Reason why? It's all about this, everybody. And what people don't understand when it comes to business, it's always about the money. It's always about the money. Television revenue.
In this case, it was only about the money, because I can tell you for a fact that LA people just don't give a shit about football unless it's the Raiders. And that was painfully proven the first time around for the Rams, because that was one of the reasons Georgia, who by the way was originally from St. Louis, cited, we're lacking in attendance, and
in the old Anaheim Stadium.
In the old Anaheim Stadium, yeah. Even before that, they were lacking in attendance at the Coliseum.
Yeah. That was Raider Nation.
Yep.
That was Raider Nation. You have to look at the LA market at the time with the Raiders being in the NFL in Los Angeles.
Yep.
They just won a Super Bowl in '83. I mean, you seen everybody and their mama at the Coliseum. They sold out almost every single game at the Coliseum. You had people like Ice Cube. You had people in the rap culture wearing LA Raider hats. Bo Jackson, Marcus Allen.
Yeah. Both of whom have ties locally, because Bo Jackson was a two-sport athlete playing for the Royals, and Marcus Allen ended his career with the
Kansas City Chiefs, and went into the Hall of Fame as a Kansas City Chief, by the way, everybody. And you have to think about the Coliseum. You have to think about the rich history of the LA Coliseum and the football in the LA with the Raiders. Now, we know why Al Davis wanted to leave LA and then moving the team back to Oakland. He's always had a battle with the NFL, all the way from Pete Rozelle to Tagliabue. With the Rams leaving LA, understandably. Why? The attendance was low. Nobody was going to Anaheim to go see the Rams. The Rams, prior to them moving to St. Louis, hadn't had a winning season since 1989. They had lost in the playoff game. That was the last time as the LA Rams, prior to Jared Goff, and then moving back to LA. Prior to the Rams moving back to LA, they hadn't made the playoffs in LA. LA hadn't seen a playoff game since for the Rams. They haven't seen one since 1989. So I understood where they're coming from with that too. They weren't winning.
Yeah.
One of the biggest mistakes that the Rams did make was trading Eric Dickerson to the Colts. You traded your franchise away.
Yeah.
You traded you thought that Jim Everett was going to get you there with Flipper Anderson,
Jackie Everett. Yeah.
I mean, Jackie Slater, the great Jackie Slater,
The great Jakes.
was on his way out. Jack Youngblood had already left, and I give Jack Youngblood his respect because the man played in the NFC Championship game and in the Super Bowl with a broken leg.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, on that part,
Yeah.
moving from LA to St. Louis, it brought a brand new market and a new feel for the NFL because remember, St. Louis lost the Cardinals.
Yeah.
The Cardinals moved to Arizona. The Bidwells moved St. Louis, from St. Louis to Arizona.
That's more Bill Bidwell than
and that
certainly
was
not Michael Bidwell.
and that was a shit show itself.
Yeah.
So St. Louis was clamoring for an NFL team after losing. Seeing great players like Neil Lomax and Otis Anderson, Roy Clark and all those guys. Dan Dierdorf. They were clamoring for it because everybody knows that St. Louis is a Cardinals town. It's baseball. It's always been baseball. But to give them the football team was great. Now their first few years being in St. Louis,
not great.
They were horrible.
Not great.
And what happened? Dick Vermeil comes in. Trent Green gets injured. Thank you, Rodney Harrison.
Yeah.
If you St. Louis, you should thank Rodney Harrison because if it wasn't for him injuring Trent Green,
we never heard of Kurt Warner.
We never heard of Kurt Warner. And they had the greatest storybook ending you can ask for. It was a very great Super Bowl between them and the Titans.
Yep.
Now, that was a very great game. Kurt Warner, Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, Marshall Faulk,
Orlando Pace,
Ricky Prohl,
Haas Hakim,
Mike Martz. And then, you go in, after Warner leaves, is Mark Bolger.
Yep. Mark Bolger out of my dad's high school.
West Virginia.
That's the college.
That's the college you went to.
The high school I went to was Central Catholic High School in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Same high school that Dan Marino went to. Same high school that Frank Bull went to. 2 years ahead of my dad, actually. The guy that's came up with the $1.50 hot dog combo for Costco, also a Central Catholic guy. So you can thank Central Catholic for the following phrase. If you ever raise the price of that hot dog combo, I will fucking kill you.
Right. And you have to think, I think they should have kept that team in St. Louis.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They should have kept that team in St. Louis. Probably brought the Raiders back, because when they were talking about they were going to bring the NFL back to L.A.,
Needed to be the Raiders.
You would have thought it would be the Raiders or the Chargers.
Yeah.
Because the Chargers were having the same problem.
Exactly.
They were having the same problem with Jack Murphy Stadium or Qualcomm Stadium.
Yeah. I still call it Jack Murphy.
It's still Jack Murphy. His mama called him Jack Murphy. I'm going to call it Jack Murphy. You would think it would be the Chargers because LA's only an hour away. I've been there. I've been to San Diego. I've been to LA traffic. It's horrible. You would thought it would be the Chargers. You would thought that the Davis family would move the Raiders to LA's because the problems that they were having in Oakland.
Exactly. This is a California thing that we're talking about.
Yes.
They don't put public money in stadiums. Whereas St. Louis, they were willing to build a new stadium for the Rams.
Right. It was Kroenke.
Yeah. And we're also going to talk about, you talked about how they had a bunch of losing before leaving for St. Louis. They had a bunch of losing
in L.A.
On the way out of St. Louis, too. 12 straight years losing in St. Louis.
Exactly. Bad draft picks.
Yeah. Alex Barron, are you kidding me?
Sam Bradford?
Bradford, when healthy.
When healthy was okay.
Was pretty decent.
It was pretty decent.
But, no, they never gave him a line. They never gave him receivers or anything. And The only bright spot on those teams was Steven Jackson, and the defense.
And the defense was okay because you did bring in Aaron Donald. You brought in
We had Chris Long, we had Jim Laurinaitis.
You had Aaron Donald, and yet something was not clicking. But when it comes to the Kroenke family, he did y'all wrong.
Yep.
Now, because you had a market, you had Kansas City, you had St. Louis, you had two teams in Missouri. The Governor's Cup. We don't get to see the Governor's Cup game anymore.
Exactly.
And now, talking to people that live in St. Louis, the only way they're going to enjoy football, they got to watch the Chiefs. And
Battlehawks.
Yeah. Now with the UFL. Thank you, Vince McMahon, for bringing back the XFL.
Yep.
But thank you, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson for buying it from Vince McMahon.
And further, thank you to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson for talking with Fox and the USFL. Get the UFL.
And create that. And now St. Louis won't be missing football. And I'm excited for the Battlehawks.
Oh yeah.
You know, I'm glad AJ McCarron said, "No, fuck the Bengals. I'm gonna go back to the go play for St. Louis."
Yep.
So you get AJ McCarron back, and you guys have you guys have a lot of great, prosperous days coming in St. Louis. Yeah. You just gotta basically build on it.
They're talking Greatest Show on Turf 2.0.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. But now, when it comes to the Kroenke family in Denver,
ooh yeah.
He did some things in Denver. When he owned it, and his son Josh went to the University of Missouri. So
played basketball there.
I'm a KU fan. Fuck Mizzou. So Muck Fizzou. But the Avalanche. Now the Colorado Avalanche came in. I think it was as an expansion team in NHL.
They were the.
They moved.
They were the original Quebec Nordiques.
The Nordiques. And why Quebec doesn't have a hockey team? They moved.
Montreal and Quebec.
Yes, yeah, but they haven't won anything.
But yeah, Quebec City.
Yeah, they haven't won anything. And of course, they do win a Stanley Cup. They just recently won a Stanley Cup with Patrick Waugh as their coach. Recently, they just won a Stanley Cup not too long ago, and they're actually doing well. But look at the Denver Nuggets.
Yep.
Now, yes, they did win their first.
They just won, but still.
Yeah, they just won their first ever NBA championship. But look how it came around. Look how this came about. The Denver Nuggets. Yes, you got Nikola Jokic. Yes, you got Jamal Murray. Yes, you have Michael Porter Jr., who went to Mizzou. You got Christian Braun, who went to KU. You got a great nucleus there. And yes, the Ball Arena, what used to be the Pepsi Arena. But this is where the Kroenke family loses me at. Carmelo Anthony, has his podcast.
I was a huge Carmelo fan.
I'm a huge.
Yeah.
Outside of the
since you did mention KU, I was hoping for Syracuse to win that because fuck Kirk Heinrich.
Okay, you can say that too, but we loved Kirk Heinrich. I was outside of the 2003 national championship, which was a good game. KU did blow that lead. If they would have made 8 of their free throws, they would have won by 2. I actually watched that game and was heartbroken because I was on my way back to Lawrence to go ahead celebrate. Which ended up becoming.
I was a UMKC student at the time, and it was sure that we would finally beat KU in the regular season, but with Michael Watson and all that. But no, it didn't happen.
Nope. So with Carmelo Anthony, he has his podcast now. They just recently interviewed him. They talked about George Karl. Now, George Karl was hired by the Kroenke family to coach that Denver Nuggets team.
Yes, he was.
And he basically made Carmelo Anthony look like the scapegoat, so he wasn't great. He threw his players underneath the bus. George Karl had problems with players like Kenyon Martin. He had problems with Chauncey Billups. And his big problem was with Carmelo Anthony, which was your franchise. Now, they couldn't get over the hump, and one of the things that made me mad about the Kroenke family, you trade Chauncey Billups to Detroit. You trade Chauncey Billups from Detroit, bring him from Detroit for the Allen Iverson deal, which Iverson was on his way out of the league. It was sad how his career ended. but you didn't build around Carmelo Anthony the same way.
Carmelo's like the Bradford of basketball.
Right. It's like the same way Miami did with Dwayne Wade. You know, Dwayne Wade won his first championship in his third year.
With Shaq.
And Shaq was on his way out. They didn't basically, how can I put this? They didn't put Carmelo on there because Carmelo should have won the Rookie of the Year in 2003, but they gave that to LeBron. They didn't do what they did for Melo, and Melo forced his way back home to New York, which basically, with that trade, it was so lopsided with that trade it basically hurt the Nuggets. It hurt the Nuggets until they were able to go into the second round and go get a Nikola Jokic. They were able to get a Jamal Murray and build that team. So when it came down to it, over those dark years after Carmelo Anthony, the Kroenke family failed. They failed the fans of Denver. Now when it comes to the Rapids, I don't really follow soccer unless it's the World Cup and it's the USA.
Right. I can't really speak much to the Rapids, but I can certainly, from my past experience with this podcast, talk about Arsenal Football Club.
Yes.
Which he also owns. And I can tell you, Arsenal fans hate him just as much as St. Louis people hate him. It's not even close.
And he has a face you can hate. Look at the mustache. He looks like a bear.
Yeah.
He has a face you can hate. And what he should have did, if you're going to have teams in Colorado, I would have left the Rams alone. Keep it with the Frontier family. Go buy the Denver Broncos.
Well, therein lies yet another issue, because Georgia died and left control of the team with Chip and Lucia, her two children, and Chip didn't want to run it anymore. So they were close to selling to Shad Khan. Same Shad Khan who now
owns the Jacksonville Jaguars and now owns All Elite Wrestling. Thank you, Tony Khan.
And Fulham FC. But Kroenke had a right of first refusal, and that's how it came to be.
So basically, Stan Kroenke is a dickhead.
Yeah.
He's a dictator. He's a dickhead. And yes, he's won. He's got championships. Yes, he's got his Super Bowl in L.A., which, he got.
Which no one attended.
Attended.
Nobody attended the parade. And I've had at least one actor on who's been in LA, and he's told me they don't give a shit about football in Los Angeles. And
I mean, you had the Super Bowl, but the highlight of the Super Bowl wasn't the Rams winning the Super Bowl. It was Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and 50 Cent, and Eminem, and Mary J. Blige. That was the highlight.
And my conspiracy theory about that Super Bowl, to this day, and will probably be that way until the day I die, it was rigged for that specific result, because it came right after St. Louis and the NFL settled.
Yes. And I mean, the Super Bowl before that with Tom Brady in Tampa Bay, that was rigged. I don't care what nobody says. Mahomes should have 4 rings right now. That was rigged. That's another story. But yeah, I think there was some theories to that. There's some truth to that as well.
Oh, yeah.
But they basically built SoFi Stadium, and basically the Chargers got annually raped. Basically, it's like you could pay in and basically play into the stadium. Basically, the Chargers
for $1 a year. That's the Chargers' rent is $1 a year.
The Chargers are to the Rams are what the Clippers are to the Lakers. The redheaded stepchild. This is why the Clippers, Steve Ballmer went ahead and said, we're going to build our own stadium. And it's matter of fact, it's right near SoFi Stadium. It is the Intuit Dome. So, the Chargers, Stan Kroenke screwed you over. If that was the case, you should have basically stayed in San Diego.
Which, of course, as we established earlier, was never going to happen.
Never going to happen.
And I don't care. I know people are pissed off with Dean Spanos about that, but Spanos, I've said this before, I will say it again, he at least tried to live up to his end of the deal as far as the relocation policy was concerned, and that was what the entire St. Louis versus NFL lawsuit was about was those relocation guidelines.
Definitely.
Which, by the way, those guidelines, thanks to that lawsuit, now constitute a valid contract at least in the state of Missouri.
Yes, and I just want to say this: if the Chargers are going to bring football back to the LA, get people excited, Jim Harbaugh has to win.
Yep.
He has to
win. I think he will. He's one in San Francisco. He's one in Michigan. So there's no reason
he has to win to basically stick it to Stan Kroenke.
Yeah. And I want the Chargers to win.
But see, as long as there's Patrick LaVon Mahomes, they ain't winning anything. I mean, you might have to move to the NFC.
That's one thing I saw with this whole LA debacle. The Chargers and Raiders could wind up moving to LA. Basically, the stadium that they wound up building in Vegas would have been built in LA for the Chargers and Raiders, and one of the two, likely the Chargers, would have switched to the NFC.
And we probably would end up getting one of those teams from the NFC. Most likely, we probably wouldn't gotten Arizona to come to the AFC West, but we didn't want Arizona. We wanted Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle would have been a possibility. Heck, even St. Louis would have been a possibility. I would have been more fine with switching to the AFC than losing my team to fucking LA.
And it's all about.
And of course, the idiots saying, "Well, the Chargers have no business being in LA." You know, the Chargers were born in LA.
They were.
Yeah.
1960, John
And
Hagel.
the same idiots who say, "Well, the Rams just came home from them." Home would be Cleveland for them. All right. Yes, pre-World War II, but still, they were born in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah. And the thing is, what we want to tell everybody when it comes to ownerships, especially in sports, it's always politics plays into it. And of course, we know who supported the move from St. Louis to LA. Jerry Jones.
Oh yeah.
Why? Because Jerry's a greedy bastard. Okay.
Jones.
Jerry's a greedy bastard. Okay. And this is why the Cowboys won't win anything. Now, have you been down to Arlington?
Not recently.
Okay. Now, I've been to Arlington. I've seen AT&T Stadium. I call it the world's largest toilet bowl.
My father said the same thing about Texas Stadium.
I mean, it has a hole, just like a toilet.
Yeah.
I mean,
my mother, God rest her soul, was
the only good thing about
Dallas.
The only good thing about Dallas was the TV show and J.R. Ewing. So J.R.
Yeah.
Who shot J.R.?
So my mother, who was a big Cowboy fan, always said Texas Stadium had the hole in the roof so God could look on
America's team.
On God's favorite
ladies and gentlemen, America's team resides here in Kansas City. Okay, we'll get to that. But Jerry Jones, I've been there 3 times, and I always have to go into Arlington. I've seen the world's largest toilet bowl. Jerry Jones
also seen
owns all that little strip.
Yeah.
With the stadium, there's the hotels, the Walmart, the gas stations. He owns all of that. They have the Dallas Cowboy pro shops everywhere in the Dallas Metroplex. Everywhere. And yet, you can't win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You haven't won a Super Bowl since OJ got away with it. Michael Jordan came back. Cowboys won a Super Bowl. But Jerry Jones is always saying yes to controversial moves. And Jerry Jones screwed St. Louis as much as Stan Kroenke.
Yes,
They're friends. All these NFL owners, these billionaires, are all friends. But when it comes down to common sense, because I'm pretty sure Clark Hunt wanted to keep the Rams in St. Louis.
Okay, so now we bring Clark Hunt into discussion, and I bring up the LA committee. All right, Clark Hunt was on that LA committee, and Clark Hunt was the only member of that LA committee to vote against the Chargers and Raiders coming to LA. So the other 5 owners were Jerry Richardson with the Panthers, who was
asshole.
Well, he was pushed out, and
Passed away.
Passed away. Yeah. John Mara with the New York Football Giants. Whichever Rooney now runs the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, because I know it was Art Rooney.
Yeah.
Art Rooney the
second.
second.
The second, yeah. The late Bob McNair with Houston.
Texans, yep.
And Bob Kraft, New England.
God damn, I hate Robert Kraft. God, I hate him. He has a face you just want to punch.
A lot of these owners do, let's be honest.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. So those five said Raiders and Chargers to LA. Hunt was the only one that said no. His rationale, I still don't know if I buy it to this day. His rationale was only one team should move to LA. Well, I don't know all the scenarios they were talking about. The only team involved in a one team to LA thing would have been the Rams. So basically, he was an anti-St. Louis vote, as far as I'm concerned.
But with that, I mean, there's a lot of things that people, when the Rams and moved here to Missouri, that we're going to miss. We're going to miss the Governor's Cup.
Yes.
We're going to miss going to St. Louis, having St. Louis come into town in the preseason, or going to St. Louis for the preseason things too. The Royals and Cardinals got the I-70 series.
Yep.
Which, some people
there are still people in St. Louis that you bring up Kansas City, they'll bring up
85.
Game 6 of 85.
85. Yes, it wasn't out. But that back then we didn't have instant replay. We just had blind ass umps.
And the folks that are saying that Galarraga kid out of Detroit, who almost had a perfect game, same play, exact same play.
Yes.
Yep. So
ruined his perfect game.
So if you give that kid a perfect game, you have to retroactively give the Cardinals.
But unfortunately, they don't. Unfortunately, they don't give out World Series championships for fuck ups. Because if that was the case, the Astros shouldn't have won their World Series. Astros. ASS/Tros. But when it comes down to that right there, for Denver fans out there, you're happy because your Nuggets are winning. Why? Because your Broncos are trash. And you should never gave Russell Wilson all that money, and now you're $85 million in the hole.
Yeah, guess who owns the Broncos now?
Walmart.
The Walton family, and guess which family Stan is married into?
Walmart.
Walmart.
So therefore, Denver, you're screwed when it comes to football.
Yeah.
Twice.
Yeah.
But when it boils down to it, I do sympathize with St. Louis fans. Please go out and support the Battlehawks. Sell out them games like when Kurt Warner was Isaac Bruce, Falk, the greatest show on turf. When they were playing, you guys sold out every single game.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, that NFC Championship game you guys won, God rest the soul of Derek Thomas, because I know he was on his way to that game.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay had y'all. It was a 6-5 game. Ricky Prohl catching that ball. So you guys know. You guys know. Yelled loud. Now I still think you guys should have 2 Super Bowls in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Because we know
there's still Rams players from that 01 team that say to this day that the Patriots cheated.
They did, and it was all proven. I mean, because you played if everyone remember. The Rams and Patriots played earlier that season, and the Rams beat the shit out of them in New England. So for some way, somehow, I know do something special, but Tom Brady admitted he fumbled in front of Charles Woodson. They were teammates in Michigan, and he admitted to Charles Woodson that was a fumble. This is why instant replay should have been instituted further the next season. They should have instant replay did this, because you can see that play there. And if it wasn't for the tuck rule, Tom Brady wouldn't be the GOAT.
Right.
He's the GOAT of cheating. But so he has 7 rings. 4 of those are legit. The first 3, nah. First 3 were not, and the other 4 were pretty much gifted. Especially the 4th one. Oh, I'll take, and the 5th one. Damn you, Kyle Shanahan. Damn you, Kyle Shanahan. Damn. No, damn you, Kyle Shanahan. Why did you blow that 25-point lead and cost millions of people money? Me, one of them. But St. Louis, you guys are a proud sports town. You've always been a proud sports town. Now, you should have kept your Hawks in basketball. You should have kept your basketball team. Understandably, I know it was the 50s and 60s, understandable.
Yeah.
But you guys are a great sports town when it comes to the Blues. Winning the Stanley Cup in 2019.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
With going to 2 Super Bowls, Cardinals. McGuire. You got to go back to your history with the St. Louis Cardinals with Musial, Lou Brock, Willie
Second
McGee.
most World Series victories after just the Yankees.
Yes. So you guys have a very proud sports history. And it feels a little tainted because you lost the Rams, which it should. Because Dan Kroenke's a dickhead, okay? But you guys have the St. Louis Battlehawks.
Yeah, we do.
And you guys got to go out there and support them. It's because you love your football. You've always loved your football since the Cardinals. You love with Neil Lomax and Otis Anderson, Deardorff. You love that. You love playing football at Busch Stadium. I could go back to YouTube and watch old clips. You guys playing on CBS back in the day. Seeing you guys basically ready for that team. Now, you guys should never have fired Gene Stallings. That's where you messed up. You should never fire Gene Stallings. And then he went on to Alabama and won the national championship. But that was the Bidwell's fault.
Yeah.
But you guys, when the Rams came to town, you did support. I give y'all that. You guys went out there and you supported.
Better than LA ever has.
Exactly. Now, the reason why the Rams are back at LA is because it's a big ass, beautiful stadium. And yeah, they won a Super Bowl there. But that was your guys' Super Bowl. You guys should have had Matthew Stafford, Aaron Donald, Todd Gurley. You guys should have had the Cooper Kupp, Odell Beckham Jr. You guys, that was your guys' Super Bowl when the Rams won it against Cincinnati. So, you got the UFL coming up.
Yeah. And
I hope you guys win it.
I hope so too. It's going to be tough, but I hope we do. But along the way, we are going to keep. I'm already hearing estimates of 40 to 50,000 at the Dome for those games.
Definitely.
This is a team that's already set spring attendance records. 38,000 is the record, so they're just going to build on that and build on that.
And let's hope your Cardinals get back to the winning ways. I mean, watching the Cardinals over my lifetime, I've seen the great players that you guys have outside of McGuire, Pujols, Yachty, Wainwright.
Pujols, who
Freeze.
went to school here?
Yeah, David Freeze. Everybody remember David Freeze saving you guys against the Texas Rangers.
Matt Holliday when he actually touched home plate.
Scott Rowland.
Not to the only Denver team that's not owned by Walmart.
But think about the great Ozzie Smith.
Yes, Ozzie. White Herzog also comes to mind. Also a guy with KC ties.
Tony La Russa.
Yep.
Mike Matheny.
Another guy with KC ties, Matheny.
Yes. So, your sports history is rich.
Yep.
And it's not just with the sports too. Pro wrestling with Sam Mesnick. You guys were a big supporter of sports wrestling. Pro wrestling. Of course, the Orton family. Bob Orton Sr., Bob Jr., Randy Orton. You guys have great history. And Stan Kroenke shitted on it by saying, "Oh, yeah,
St. Louis is just a baseball town.
It's just a baseball town. We're going to move to L.A."
Yep.
And the reason why he moved to L.A. is simple. To fat his pockets, get a Super Bowl there, build a stadium, and make more money.
Yep. And a special fuck you to one Kevin Demoff, who, from what I heard from you just now and from our friend in Amsterdam, the Arsenal fan, Karen, this guy's name, sounds like Josh Kroenke does a lot of the stuff for the other teams that Kevin Demoff does for St. Louis. Kevin Demoff, professional liar. So yeah, I encourage anyone who happens to be listening to this podcast, order up some Emo's Pizza, send it out to Kevin Demoff, care of the LA Rams, and have him pay for it. Because that's another thing I remember from this whole debacle, from the Adios Motherfucker letter and all the lies he told on St. Louis media. There is no secret plan. I just remember reading about him shitting on St. Louis cuisine.
Can't do that.
Yeah.
Because Emos is a staple and Emos is awesome.
Yeah. I love me some Profile, man. And there's any Emos just down the street from where we're sitting. Right here in Kansas City. Yeah.
So, you know.
And you can buy Profile at a supermarket. So.
Yeah, you can. But, you know, St. Louis, you know, I know you guys were hurt and you guys were rightfully pissed. You guys were rightfully pissed. Now, if Clark Hunt were to do that to move the Chiefs out of Kansas City, now the Kansas City area, we would burn this son of a bitch down. Because his dad moved them from the Texans.
Yep.
Moved the Texans up to Kansas City, and this is a staple. Now, do I think they should have some renovations at Arrowhead? Yeah. But should we have to pay for it? No.
Well, it's going to be, they're planning on extending a sales tax. So, yeah, if you buy anything in Jackson County, you're paying for it.
Right. Just move the...
Same with the Royals, and they're talking downtown.
Now, if they say no, the people say no, hey, we'll take them here in Johnson County, because Johnson County taxpayers pay more and buy more season tickets than Jackson County. We'll take them, we'll put them over to the Legends, and build them a new stadium.
That's in Wyandotte County, though.
Yeah. Or, we'll build it in Johnson County, whatever, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of land out here, undeveloped land. We'll bring them here. We don't care. They'll still be the Kansas City Chiefs, they'll just be in Kansas.
Right. Legitimately in Kansas.
Yes, so. And they'll still be the Kansas City Chiefs, to be literally in Kansas. But I think Stan Kroenke did St. Louis injustice. The city was willing to put the money up.
Yep.
They just wanted him to basically back him on that. He said no. Why? In the words of Gordon Gekko, if you've seen the movie Wall Street, greed is good, according to NFL owners.
Yep.
And that's the shitty part about business. Greed is good.
Yep.
Learned that in my junior year of high school, learning about the Great Depression with stock and demand. Greed is good. That's why Prohibition was created.
Yep.
People want their alcohol, they want to get taxed. They want their alcohol. Greed is good. When it comes down to it, St. Louis, go out there and support those Battle Hawks.
Oh, yeah.
Go out there and support your Cardinals. Go out there and support the Blues. Go out there and support your soccer, MLC team, FS. Go ahead and support them. Support all your teams.
Yep.
But also, when you're supporting your teams, when you're showing that support, especially if you're a Battlehawks fan and you guys fill that dome up,
Fuck Stan Kroenke.
you are basically saying, fuck Stan Kroenke.
Yep.
And Josh Kroenke.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that is because he went to Missouri.
Yeah.
And I'm a KU fan.
Yeah.
So, that's what I'm saying on that.
All right. So, let's take a break from bashing Stan for a second and talk. Let's keep it in Colorado and talk Buffalo's football.
Yes.
Yes. Coach Prime.
Yes. And I'm glad the Pac-12 basically just said, you know what? We suck. We're done. We're just going to move. I'm glad that Colorado has come back to the Big 12. It's because you're bringing back history. Now, if Nebraska comes back, great.
They won't.
They need to. Because Texas and Oklahoma basically have screwed themselves. Texas and Oklahoma left the Big 12 for the SEC for the money, just like Missouri did. They went for the money. I'm glad Colorado's back. Now,
And brought Utah, Arizona State with them.
So now the Big 12 is getting bigger, not just on basketball, but football reasons. And why? Because of one man, prime time, Deion Sanders. Now, they went 4-8. They went 4-8.
Yep.
They went 4-8.
They won their first three. Travis Hunter got hurt. To his credit, he reached out to the kid that hurt.
He got hurt, and went 4-8. Shedeur Sanders is a stud. He just didn't have an offensive line.
Yeah.
He didn't have Travis Hunter for a few games.
Right.
They couldn't run the ball. Defense kept giving up points. And when you're playing against the stacked teams like USC, like Utah, you're playing against Oregon, Washington, Oregon State. Yeah, you're going to get beat because you weren't prepared. Now with him coming to the Big 12, I'm happy. It's because now Colorado, what he wants to do in Colorado, he's going to be able to do it. Because who are the dominant teams in the Big 12 now that Texas and Oklahoma's left? None.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
None.
Certainly not. KU last year.
KU last year, K-State, but none. So it's wide open. With the college football playoff being expanded to 12 teams, it's exciting. And I like what Prime is doing. He basically said, "I'm going to do this my way." He brought Colorado in a lot of money.
He did, absolutely.
Now you got to think about Colorado football. Colorado football has a very rich history. Darian Hagan, Eric Bieniemy, the great Eric Bieniemy, who is now the assistant head coach at UCLA. Still think he should have came back to the NFL with the Chiefs. Should have been Andy Reid's successor. That's another story. Because he can't get a job in the NFL, and it is a damn witch hunt. That man, the man basically helped Alex Smith basically build Patrick Mahomes. He basically built Tyreek Hill. He basically built Travis Kelce.
That's good.
And he helped
boyfriend.
Pacheco. So the man knows what he's doing. But Colorado has a great history in football. Bill McCartney. Great Bill McCartney. Great history. And then you go into the early 2000s, late 90s. Cordell Stewart.
Yes. Yeah.
Michael Westbrook. The late Rashad Salam, Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah.
Alfred Williams actually played for Colorado. Chad Brown. These guys won Super Bowls. So you look at the rich history of Colorado football. Then, of course, they beat Nebraska in 2001, led by Joe Klatt. But, they had some down years. They had some down years. Like every program has down years. But not like Colorado. Colorado has some very, very dark times after moving from the Big 12 to the Pac-12. And now that they're back. Now, a lot of people say, Deion's overhyped and everything else, too. Here's the thing about Deion. Deion came into the league, told y'all it was going to be prime time. Deion was playing baseball.
Yeah.
And the only man to play in an NFL game and a Major League Baseball game the same night.
Yep.
The only man to win a Super Bowl and play in the World Series.
Yep.
And now this man who went down to Jackson State, at HBCU school, historic black college, university, and turned that program around. But not only did he turn that program around, he opened up America's eyes to HBCUs. Not just for media, but for young men as well.
Yep.
And he changed it. And one thing that he said was, and there was no shame of him leaving, because we all seen the 60 Minutes interview. He left Colorado. And the thing that I respect for what he said is why he'll never coach the pros. He said, I want to teach these young men how to become men. I don't want to babysit a $30 million player.
Exactly.
And what he's going to do in Colorado is going to enhance the Big 12 even more, football-wise. I'm glad we're going to see KU versus Colorado, which, by the way, it will be at Arrowhead Stadium.
Yeah, I heard. I did hear. Yeah, we're going to pay attention to KU's going to split time between Arrowhead and Sporting Park.
Yes,
because I guess they're
renovating Memorial Stadium in Lawrence. But that's going to be even more exciting. That Coach Prime is. We're basically going to know KU and K-State fans. We're going to see Dion. And then for the younger generation, you got to, in order to understand Coach Prime, you got to know Dion. You got to know Deion Sanders. You got to understand prime time. Yeah. The man built the Georgia Dome for the Falcons. Ask Andre Rison when he went upside his head in 1994. The man turned around and made a one-hit wonder, and it's still trending. Must be the money.
Must be the money.
And he told his truth. Everything that Prime speaks is true. And of course, the media was bashing him last year whatsoever. But you know what he did? He stood on business. And he spoke his truth. Mm-hmm. I think Colorado coming to the Big 12 is awesome. Now, if he wasn't there and they were coming to the Big 12, it'd just be another damn story. Mm-hmm. It'd just be another football team. But him coming back, him being at Colorado, has put the Big 12 up there with the SEC, with the Big 10. ACC, not so much.
Right.
Because
ACC is a basketball conference.
It's a basketball. It's always been. It's a basketball conference. It's always going to be a basketball conference. Miami should never left the Big East.
The Big East was going to break up.
They were doing good, but Miami should never left. They had some down. Miami should never left. But you got the SEC, the Big 10,
right,
and the Big 12. Those are your top three conferences in college football.
And then, ACC would probably be 4, and rest in peace, Pac-12.
Pac-12 because they only have 2 teams.
Yeah. Oregon State, Washington State.
And they're basically, you might as well become Notre Dame and be the Independents.
Yeah.
Or follow suit.
Now, if Notre Dame ever decided to give up its independence and join the ACC full time, then
there's more money for you. Of course, you don't want to give up the NBC contract. I understand. You love the Peacock.
And full disclosure, I grew up a Notre Dame fan too.
I grew up watching Notre Dame football too.
Yeah.
I just did not like convicts versus Catholics. I'm a Miami Hurricane fan. I like the Miami Hurricanes. I grew up watching the U. And fell in love with them. 1986 Fiesta Bowl. Coming off the plane in camouflage. That team has swag. That's why I love Jimmy Johnson. I always say Jimmy Johnson is one of my favorite football coaches of all time because he coached that Miami team. And the U has swagger. And yes, they should have another national championship. That was not pass interference on Chris Gamble. That was not. But to answer your question about Colorado football, you're on your way back. You actually could contend for the national championship coming out of the Big 12. You got a competition. Baylor is a sleeper pick. There's Texas Tech.
Right.
There's Houston. There's UCF. Then you have BYU.
Yep. Then
you have KU, K-State. And Iowa State. Can't forget about Iowa State. And Oklahoma State. Cannot forget about them. And TCU. So you guys Colorado has a chance. So if I were fans of the Colorado Buffaloes fans, if I was somebody in Boulder, and I was a CU fan, be very, very excited. Because you guys have a chance to not only win the Big 12. You probably will be the favorites to win the Big 12 based off your roster.
Right.
Now, Dion did a great job phenomenally recruiting.
Mm-hmm. A lot of those Jackson State guys with him, and Hunter and Shadur.
And then he went out and got more JUCO players and got more people in the transfer portal. Mm-hmm. Now he has one of the top 5 classes coming in. he's getting players, and he's basically getting people to come. It's not hype. Now, if he doesn't win this season and win more than 6 games, then it is hype.
Yeah.
It's all hype. But if they are able to win the Big 12, get into the college football playoff, Shador Sanders has a great season like he did his second season at Jackson State.
Right.
He has a phenomenal season. Travis Hunter has a phenomenal season. Dylan Edwards has a phenomenal season. If that team exceeds expectations, they come back from the down season, they exceed expectations, have a phenomenal season next season, you could be looking at that team possibly playing for the national championship. So you need to rally around this man.
Oh, yeah.
Quit hating on this man. This man has done it all. He has seen more and done more than any player in history. And we're talking about players. You put him up there with the greatest athletes, pure athletes, like a Michael Jordan, like a Wayne Gretzky, like a Kobe Bryant, a LeBron James, a Muhammad Ali, Serena and Venus Williams. You put him up, he's it up there. And he is the greatest two-sport player of all time.
Yep.
Bo Jackson could have been, he had not fucked up his hip.
Yep.
Bo could have been the greatest two-way player. When Bo fell off, Dion picked it up. Dion basically said, it's like, you know what, you gotta believe. You gotta believe.
We're coming.
We coming, and he's here. So to me, Colorado is a threat. I do see Colorado possibly in the top 25 coming out the polls in August. Y'all gotta rally around this team.
Yeah.
This guy has basically every single game that he had at Folsom Field sold out. Brought the likes of The Rock, Terrell Owens, Pat McAfee, Lil Wayne, Future. All these celebrities came to see Coach Prime.
Yep.
They had the most primetime games since 1991. The year they won the national championship.
Right.
They split the national championship with Georgia Tech. That was then you gotta think about that. You guys gotta think about that rich history. And think about those dark times. Prime is coming back. Prime came back, is coming back, and he's coming back harder. He's got Warren Sapp now on.
Yeah.
He's got NFL players working, former NFL players working with his team. Friends of his, you might want to say.
Yep.
But that team is going to be dangerous. I thought they should have beaten USC because Caleb Williams is trash. Matter of fact, that game, I actually bet against the spread for Colorado to cover it, and they did because it was plus 21. Colorado lost by 7. So I won that.
Nice.
But they don't have to worry about the Pac-12.
Yep.
The only 2 teams they really have to worry about, KU, K-State. 2 great quarterbacks that we have in the area. Jalen Daniels, Avery Johnson. And Avery Johnson is a bad man. Just like Shador is a bad man. So Colorado, you guys got a chance to make history.
Yeah.
And of course, I know that game at Arrowhead Stadium is going to suck because it's Thanksgiving week. If I remember, it's Thanksgiving weekend they're coming in.
Okay.
I'm getting my tickets early. I want to see history. Yes, I'm a KU fan, but I'm also a Coach Prime fan too. So if you see me in both Colorado and KU gear, mind your business.
Look like a Mama Counts type
Yes,
deal.
mind your business, okay? Really, mind your business. Just do that. Mind your business. Enjoy the game. I'm still rock chalk, but I'm a Coach Prime fan, and I want to see him succeed. And as a black man, I want to see this man succeed. I want this man to change the culture. And that's what he did with college football. Basically, what he's doing ran Nick Saban out of Alabama out of college football. That and the NIL. We won't get to that
Right.
too. But he said it. Why can't my team be like Alabama?
Yeah, why not us?
Why not us? And that's the mentality you have to have. Why not us? So that's my take on Colorado football.
All right. That was a great discussion, and I'm glad to have you on board. And yeah, we will call an episode, and thank you all for listening, and we will talk next time.
Take it easy.
This podcast is uncalled for. It's hosted, produced, and edited by myself, Mike Chernevsky. Our co-host for this episode was Terrence Yates. Our intro music is Iron Bacon by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com. Licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license. Our outro music for this episode is Circumstances by A. Cooper. Licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 international license. And a extra special fuck you to Enos Stanley Kroenke, may you burn in hell.
If you are in the United States or Canada, you can call us at 816-832-5160. Leave your message or question for us, and if we like it, we will play it on the podcast. Please support the podcast and purchase our exclusive uncalled for merchandise. T-shirts, sweatshirts, mugs, stickers, and so much more. Go to www.cafepress.com/uncalledforpod. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you next time.